Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by JJ Kelly, author of Holy Shit, yes, I just said that, My Kid is Cutting, The Complete Plan to Stop Self-Harm. JJ, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Paul. Happy to be here.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to get started?
I am, yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Simply just to hire the Author Incubator.
There you go.
That's it. I mean, that's what I did. I had lots of books in me. I started a bunch of them, but the fact that they help you get it done in 9 weeks and just crank it out that fast, I mean, you can't beat that with a stick.
Well, and I have heard nothing but great things about them. So walk us through the process with that. So let us know how those 9 weeks, how does the whole process go?
Yeah. Well, they set you up with a managing editor, and you basically plan it all out in 8 weeks. You pick who you're writing it for, what they want or what they'll get from it, and then you write it for that person. And that's supposed to help with focus. It absolutely does. And then by the time you get to the writing, the actual writing part from the outlines and the pieces that are put together, then it's just a matter of, well, for me, 3 days of 10 hours and just cranked it right out. And then you send that to a new editor and they help you with that process for a couple of weeks too. But then there's just the launch they provide everything. They do it all. It's so great. I can't imagine how long this would have taken me on my own.
So the formatting, book cover design, editing, all that's taken care of.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
What do I think about? So we're past the writing of the book part, the getting published part. I don't think I'm a great one to ask because they do it all. For me personally, it's the way that I speak between the slang and the cursing. I can't really, the world is not ready for a traditional publisher to pick up my stuff. I do find that, the doctor title helps a little in balancing out the swears like a sailor part, but nonetheless, the Difference Press is my publisher, and they are non-traditional, is what they call themselves. So I'm with them.
What was the name of the press?
Difference Press.
That does sound a little different.
Yeah, it does. Perfect for me.
I love it. Well, and I love what you mentioned, too, going back to our first question, because they made it clear to you that you're writing towards a certain person. And, of course, that person was your target market. So it's perfect synergy when you put those together. So we talked about the writing. We talked a little bit about the publishing. Let's now talk about the marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Well, there's always, all the social media platforms. But again, I'm sorry this isn't more interesting, but the Author Incubator has taken care of all that for me. So not all that. I still have to do posts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that. But there's sort of a grassroots approach to it, meaning we're not reinventing the wheel. It's just you start with calling or emailing, contacting everyone you know. However you do that, you just go to everyone you know, who you think will repost or word of mouth talk about your book. But I find that that the title of my book, as well as the content, the whole cutting thing is very prevalent, but still kind of secretive and not talked about. So I think that it's just opening people up to a discussion about it. So I'm trying to make it less scary for people. And so people are either having a reaction on social media or, oh my gosh, I totally need that. So I don't know what the silver bullet is on the whole thing, but it's grunt work.
So when the book launched, were you guys utilizing any type of different paid promo companies, have a sequence for your book launch? I mean, what other strategies, besides reaching out to people that you know and social media, what were some of the other things that you guys were utilizing?
Well, the Author Incubator, Angela did an interview with each of us at the launch. It was videoed. It was a live launch online, so people could ask us questions about the book right then and there. And they made videos for us, like thank you videos that you can put when somebody downloads your book. They get a thank you video from you, and lots of pictures. And everybody, your cohort is like 25 people, including yourself, and everybody is posting everybody else's stuff too, So everybody has gotten, we're all best-selling authors already. It's totally great. It's so effective. I don't know how she has created this thing. I don't understand how any of it works. So I'm just glad I have them to help me.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Man, I can't believe you ask people that, Paul. That is such a hard question.
It is.
Who can narrow that down? It keeps flying through my creativity from Chick Sent My High is such a great book. Or Rebecca Traister's Good and Mad. The book that I give to everybody that I see in my practice and in my consultation and coaching is Taming Your Gremlin. And that is Rick Carson. And Rick Carson probably should be paying me royalties at this point for how many times I've purchased this book. I call it mindfulness for honkies, because here in America, we're very new to the whole mindfulness thing. We weren't born in Tibet or Vietnam or whatever, where 2-year-olds meditate on their own. It's not built into our upbringing. So this guy, Rick Carson, put together this book, Taming Your Gremlin, in order to externalize your worry thoughts into this ugly little monster, so that we can talk about what your worry thoughts are. Like, what did your gremlin say to you? What did your gremlin say to you about your exam today? Well, my gremlin told me there was no way I was going to pass it. So it's just an externalization of worry thoughts. But I think the number one lesson from it is just because you think it doesn't make it a fact. And I think particularly with anxiety, we forget that every thought we have is not inherently factual. So.
Excellent. And
Does that make sense what I'm saying right there?
Yeah,
or?
It did. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is episode 454, and you were the first person that's actually mentioned that specific book. So, no, that was exactly on point.
Oh, sweet. Good.
Well, for our final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
Oh, another hard one. Can I say one more thing about my favorite book?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to mention this children's book, What Do You Do With an Idea, by Kobe Yamada, because it is the most beautiful book ever, and I've started gifting that one to everybody that works with me too. And if all kids read this book when they were little and lived from this book, the world would change. So I just think that's worth mentioning. So back to the quote. Okay, quotes are so hard. I'll tell you the one that's on my fridge. How about that?
Sure.
It is, let me just get it. I don't have the right lighting here. It's a James Baldwin quote, and it says, "The role of the artist is exactly the same as the role of a lover. If I love you, I have to make you conscious of the things you don't see." I love that. I mean, I love Toni Morrison too. I love lots of people that quote, which I'm not good at regurgitating quotes either, but that's what I got for you.
Perfect. And why is that your favorite quote?
Well, because two reasons. I think that I agree with it. Isn't that why we have favorite quotes? We agree with it. It's something we've said before. I mean, God, we're so in our own stuff. I think James Baldwin is brilliant, was. And also, I think that people, including psychologists and psychiatrists, people in my field, forget the art of it. People get all academic about it. They get clinical about it. And I think particularly the clinical is important. But there is an art to being with another human being for the purpose of healing. And it takes connection in order to heal. Listening more than giving advice, being with someone, really being with them. And that there's an art to that. I don't know if it's improv or what. For me, it's probably improv comedy. But I take pretty seriously, even with all the laughing, I take pretty seriously the idea of I am an artist. And we all are, in whatever our passion is. I mean, isn't everybody's goal to contribute to humanity in a way to make the world better once we're gone than when we got here?
I hope so.
I think so.
I
hope so too, man.
Well, JJ, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Well, any sort of Dr. JJ Kelly in the Bay Area, Oakland, Berkeley area, but drjjkelly.com is my website. People can download the book there, get free consultations there. It's all there.
Awesome. Well, Dr. JJ, I want to thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thanks so much, Paul. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how you can be featured in our brand new Get Published business book, go to getpublishedpodcast.com.